Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Are you guys there?
Absolutely.
I'm not quite sure what happened to the open. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened there? But I guess that's that. Welcome to week 16. I guess it's kind of like how I felt about last week. I don't know, NFL. What's the point of having videotape if a guy can put his foot out of bounds and still counts? It's interesting perspective, I think. But in any case, Shawn's not Shawn, but Jared's complaining about his weather, saying it is 13 degrees where he lives. Well, where I live, it's -3 outside right now. I'll take 16 degrees warmer any day of the week.
Yeah, I'm in between. I'm 6.
Yeah, well, I'll still take 6 over. It's still almost a full 10 digits higher. I think weather could be an issue in this week's games. That's probably why. I mean, when you look at some of these totals, it's as if though Las Vegas is expecting the worst freaking week of football ever. 32, 31, 36. I don't know if either of you have read anything about this, but is this like for a full slate of games? Is this the lowest combined total that Vegas has ever put together? Because so many games so low.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you would find stats like that, but yeah, it is an odd week.
You're supposed to have some serious wind conditions in some of these stadiums this week, tomorrow.
Yeah, so. I only see really a couple that stand out. One is the Bills and the Bears, where you're supposed to have a lot of wind. And I've heard a lot of NFL players say the cold doesn't really bother them, or the rain for that matter, or the snow. But what bothers them the most is the wind. And it's supposed to be kind of windy in Chicago, windy in Cleveland. Not surprising. Both of those stadiums are by lakes. Let's see, maybe a little bit of wind in the Ravens and the Falcons, but probably no more than normal. Maybe a little bit of wind with the Raiders and the Steelers, but I don't know that 15-mile-an-hour gusts all that much. Probably going to impact the kicking game more than it will. I would think the cold would impact the kicking game more because those cold footballs just aren't going to fly. It'd be like kicking a rock.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely hampers the distance.
What were you saying, Jared?
We could see some field goals left out there that go awry, or some extra points missed this weekend, which make the difference.
Maybe some teams will punt from the opposing team's 30-yard line. I think what you'll just probably see is teams go for it down there more, right? If they feel like the kicking game is going to suffer. So that's going to do one of two things. It'll take some of these low totals and make them look like a joke because teams will go for it on 4th down and convert some of those field goals into touchdowns. But if they don't get them, it certainly can make those
decisions for 2-point conversion perhaps
look really high if they don't get
them.
Them.
We could see a record set weekend maybe for some 2-point conversion tries, perhaps, because they feel like, the conditions, let's just go for the 2 and then, instead of a 1 point because it could miss it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would think of the windy stadiums where it's going to be cold and windy, like Chicago, maybe Cleveland. You might see that happen, but in the other games, I think in the teens, not a whole lot of wind. I think you'll probably see the games played as they normally are played, and you won't see much of a difference. Maybe a few balls bouncing off for some receivers' hands, but the gloves that they have nowadays, I don't think that's the case at all. So let's recap last week. Jared had a really nice bounce back week, up $521. Jared, you lost on the Eagles. You lost on the Giants and the Commanders going over, but you flipped around that Lions and Jet game, and that turned out to your benefit. And then, so you had a good week. Shawn, on the other hand, only lost one game, the Vikings, and almost came back in that one, but otherwise did all right. Both of you guys benefited greatly from some really horrible officiating in that Raiders game. But
the immaculate pitch back.
No, I mean, that you can't account for that, but that they should have never been in that position to begin with because the wide receiver caught that ball. Even the replay showed that the guy's clearly out of bounds, and somehow the ref comes back and says he's inbounds. So he must have had a little bit of money on the Raiders too. Just saying. I don't know. I don't know how you missed that. I mean, what's the point of replay if a ref can come in and just blatantly see a guy's foot's out of bounds and still call it a touchdown?
Yeah, I saw the touchdown, I saw the review, and I thought it was going to get overturned, and then it never did. I didn't hear the explanation. I mean, obviously there probably was an explanation. They just said the call stood. I don't know if his foot hit first before it out of bounds. I saw it the same way you did, so I don't know what changed.
No, his foot came down. His foot came out of bounds. The front foot.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
clear
It
as
did look
day.
like the toe was out of bounds. I watched the replay in the angle several times, and you could say the same for the.
You could see from the overhead shot, it goes. The white line goes like this, and then it goes in, and then it goes out. So that's his foot over the white line. But what are you going to do? It's water under the bridge. It's so far under the bridge. It's now in the Gulf of Mexico. So Shawn and Jared both benefit from that, having a fantastic week. And I just had this fun week last week with the Cowboys. Another one where the referee blatantly misses a call, where Dak inaccurate, does what inaccurate does, throws an interception, but the ref is 2 feet away from the guy coming and just smashes Dak in the back. It allows the kid to run down the sidelines for the touchdown. I guess that's illegal on interceptions, but not on punt returns. Is that how that rule works, guys?
It's it's like the holding. It probably happens every play. It's ones that they're going to call and not call, and in that situation, they're probably just not going to call it.
Yeah, but I think that's a game-changing play. You have to call it. You cannot not let a guy smash a dude in the back to create the running lane. But again, water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Losing 2 games like that is frustrating. I'll say. So
but what's crazy about mine is I believe by kickoff the Vikings went down to -2.5, and I know for a fact the Chargers did. So if people got them Sunday morning, they wouldn't be L's or pushes; they'd be wins as well.
Well, it was a good week for you, Shawn. It's been a tough. I haven't really enjoyed this year. At least it's just up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little. It's been a grind. Haven't had a big week. You guys have had a couple big weeks in there. I haven't really had a couple big weeks. It's just, like I said last week, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light. So Shawn moves up to a plus 347.96. And then Jared making a big comeback as well. We could see that trend was coming down there, Jared. We called that last week.
Yeah.
So that trend broke for you. So maybe you'll continue to go on that path. And then Mr. Shawn's had 2 out of 3 really good weeks. So hopefully we can continue that because we're only down 210 as a crew right now. If we can have a good week as all 3 of us, we can get back into the plus column. You guys ready to see what we have in store for week 16?
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Let's start with the Jaguars and the Jets. That game is in the books, and Jared put 3 units on it. So he's halfway home to getting back into the green for 2022. And then we'll go right to the Bills and the Bears.
But we have to give you kudos, though, tonight, Rich, because I believe someone in our preseason said, I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to pick the Jaguars to win the AFC South.
Well,
and I
not
believe
done yet. They got a well to go yet.
It's looking pretty good at a plus 800 on the season.
If Tennessee loses to Dallas next week, I don't know, though, because the Cowboys are playing like poop right now. It's after 10 o'clock. We could probably use the other words, but they're playing like crap. Their defense sucks. Their quarterback throws interceptions when it doesn't matter. They're losing to teams that they have 17-point leads on in the second half. I mean, that's just not good football. They were barely beating the Colts before there was an onslaught of turnovers. They struggled to beat the worst team in football, Houston. Then they lost to a Jacksonville team they had a 17-point advantage on. They're not playing very well. So I don't know if Tennessee will beat them or not. But I do think that without Ryan Tannehill, the Tennessee offense will probably struggle. So, maybe that last game, it comes down to it, and Jacksonville does win it. So that'd be good to see, to get a good one in there. Mm-hmm. And if Detroit had gotten off to a little better start, maybe the Eagles didn't get that BS referee call in the first game, Detroit might be in the hunt for winning their division too.
Yeah, and the injuries that they had, too, in the beginning of the year. If they would have been healthy all year long, look out.
Indeed. All right, let's get to this year. The Bills and the Bears right here in chilly, windy city, Chicago, where it is, as I said, -3 degrees. Going to be kind of cold, going to be kind of windy. So that game, I think, well, Jared, let's start with you. You have the game going over 40 for 2 units. I happen to think that's the right side of the bet. My only concern is
I think I'm going to sweat it out, though. I think it's going to be close, but I think I'm going to sweat this one out a little bit. But
yeah, my only concern is I think the Bills will do their part. I think they'll get to 20. My question is, what will the Bears do?
Just enough, I think, to get us to there.
Merry Christmas, William. How are you today? Philly getting 4. Yeah, I got the Eagles getting 4.5 down here. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I think the Cowboys, like I said, are playing like like crap. So, and I don't know that Gardner
Don't
Minshew
think
coming in
don't
is going
think
to
the
be much
Eagles are going to
different.
miss a beat. I don't think the Eagles are going to miss a beat even without Jalen Hurts being in there this week. I have plenty of confidence in Minshew. If to the Eagles are going to take care of business against the Cowboys this week. So
They may not win, but I think it'll be a field goal game. It'll be close. Last year, under the same circumstances, the Cowboys actually absolutely demolished the Eagles. I think it was 51-26, something like that. But the Eagles still have to play for this game because they win this one, they clinch the division. They still have to, I think, win 2 more to ensure that they have home field advantage throughout, or just 1 more, right? If they
just one more, or the Cowboys and Vikings each lose a game, which is most likely going to happen. So I would think they play this close to the best. They're going to try to win, but I think they're going to keep some stuff under wraps here.
Well, I think they have to win this game, right? Because you don't want to get in a situation where you give everything up.
Yeah,
There's no question. You're going to get the best
they,
effort from the Eagles here. They want to get their players some rest. They want to go into the offseason into the playoffs without worrying about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't touch it either way. If I had to go, I'd probably go the Cowboys just because I'm not sure what the Eagles are going to do here with Minshew.
I don't think they're going to take the backup. Yeah, I think Gardner Minshew. I don't think they're going to miss a beat. The only thing is the Cowboys won't have to defend the quarterback running, which I think is a big part of the Eagles' offense. Jalen Hurts running, obviously. But I also think it's a big mistake for the Eagles to do that because look what happened to him, right? He's hurt. He's not the biggest guy, and the league's history is full of small guys that run a lot, very effective for a while. But once they start getting injured, those careers start to go downhill pretty quick. You don't have to look very far south to Lamar Jackson. You don't have to look past the Washington, at that time, Redskins with Robert Griffin III. I think maybe the only guy that might be able to get away with it is come on now, the guy in Buffalo, man. I hate getting old.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, because he's as big as Jared Allen was.
Yeah. But even they are trying. They keep telling him, get down, don't take the hits unless it's for a first down or this or that. But
he just jumps over him now. He's just I'm just gonna jump
and he
over
just
him.
says he's a football player, and that's what he's going to do. So it's hard to get that out of him. But I will say with the Jalen Hurts thing, the problem is the Eagles are calling read plays, and Hurts is making the right read, but it's meaning he's carrying the ball more. They got to start making those just run plays so Hurts ain't carrying the ball 20 times.
Yeah, I think that he's too small of a guy in the NFL to carry the ball 20 times a game and get whacked. And he's not going to last very long if that's the case. So, and like I said, the league is just filled with stories, guys like that run, get hit. It's effective for a year or two, but eventually defenses catch up, and then the offense is not effective anymore because they haven't really learned how to read and throw. All right, anyway, the Bills and the Bears. So you like the over in that game. My only fear in there, because I like that side too, Jared, is I don't know that the Bears offense will do its part. What makes you think that Justin Fields and the Bears offense will be able to do its part in a day where they might not be able to kick any field goals?
Because the Bills have been exposed this year, and their run defense is really bad. It's very porous. It's been exposed the last couple of games. I think Fields will be able to generate
I don't
the
think
offense.
the Bears are that good of a running team, though.
I think Fields, with his ability to extend the plays with his legs, will be able to keep the drives maintained. So they'll be able to come away with enough points in most of these drives. As long as they don't have like one of those crazy pick six turnovers that kill them from getting points.
Well, you want pick six turnover. What are you talking about? That works in your favor.
I'm saying for the Bears. I want I'm saying on the Bears side of the ball. I mean, there's going to be probably maybe a turnover or two in this game.
So if you're playing the over and the Bears throw a touchdown either to their team or to the other team, either way it helps you, my man.
It's going to be I didn't want to pick the under. I felt like I was like 50-50, and I said I'm going to go the over, and I'm going to probably sweat this one out. But I felt like you said, I was on the right side of the equation for this game. So
I think you're on the right side if the Bears can do their part. I do think the Bills are going to win this game pretty handily. They are clearly a better team. I'm not going to say the Bears want to tank, but right now I think they're second or third in the NFL draft for next year. got to get some weapons. Maybe they keep it close, but I think the Bills with the good defense, the Bears are going to be kind of limited. They're not the good throwing team anyway. The Bills will be able to focus a little bit more on stopping the run, predominantly Justin Fields. And I think the Bills win this game by 14 points or more. I wouldn't be inclined to think that maybe even want to take the Bills in the first half. I don't know. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, with the weather and the Bears are playing better with Fields, but their receivers, you pointed this out last week, and they even did pretty well last week, and they lost more receivers on top of it. They're not very deep there, and they keep losing them, so that's the hard part. So as far as Jared's over, the problem is they're going to be running the ball a lot with the weather, and the Bears are going to run Fields a lot. I think, we talked about quarterbacks running. You're going to see a lot of Josh Allen running and a lot of Josh Fields running. So
it's going to be 1920s football.
Yeah. So I don't feel confident in any of these plays at all. Bills -8 is probably the right number. I mean, I could have seen it double digits too. Bills are definitely, obviously, the better team. So it's just
money line them then, like Jared does. And you -300, but hell, it worked for him. So why not for me? All right, the Detroit Lions, one of the hottest teams in the NFL, against the Panthers, who are still alive for that division title down there. They win, and Tampa Bay loses, and they're right in that mix. Detroit's only laying 2.5 points. Shawn is that's his 2-unit play for the day, and I think Jared's on the Lions over there for 4 units on the money line. He's not so convinced they're going to win by 3, but Shawn thinks so, and Shawn's the hot hand right now, Shawn. So why do you continue to ride that Detroit? Carolina's not playing all that bad.
They're not playing bad, but Detroit, I mean, last week was the test for them. You go into a cold weather in New York. You're playing a different game. You're not going to play that shootout game. This is going to be the same type of thing. You're not going to play a shootout, but the Panthers cannot keep up with the Lions offensively, and I think the Lions can score more against the Panthers than what they were against the Jets. My only concern about this line altogether is what we talk about this is obviously looks like a sucker's bet. The Lions are the hottest team in the NFL. They're only giving up 2.5 to the Panthers.
I don't know that it looks like a sucker bet. It looks about right to me because I don't really think Carolina's playing that bad. They're in every game. They play good defense. And
they just don't score a lot of points.
Right. And that's the thing is they don't score a lot of points. But I don't know that Detroit's defense is all that good. And I do think Carolina will have some success running the ball, controlling the clock. So if it's a low-scoring game, then you're in that situation. But I do think Detroit probably wins. I could see Detroit pulling this one out for you guys with a field goal at the end.
Well, yeah, and that's all we need. But I just didn't see Carolina's offense sticking with Detroit. The only thing was, 1 was the sucker bet, and 2, can Detroit keep this going?
Well, it's also outside. I do think that unlike the Jets, Carolina can run the ball. The Jets can't run the ball. And so it's a different dynamic than playing the Jets. The Jets probably play a little bit better defense than Carolina does, but I don't know by a whole lot. So I do think that Carolina does have the ability to move the ball on the ground, whereas the Jets are one-dimensional, and apparently with the kid from BYU, there are no dimensions.
Yeah, well, I would say the Jets' pass defense is a lot better than Carolina, so Detroit should be able to air it out a lot better than what they did against the Jets.
And you're not dealing with the Carolina's secondary is not that. There's no Sauce Gardner this week. The Lions will be able to go over the top and get some big passing plays. So it's going to help them.
I think you guys are probably right. Detroit's probably the play there. The Giants and the Vikings. So the Vikings with that big comeback. I don't know about that. I'm still not wholeheartedly convinced that the Colts didn't just say, you know what, let them score a few points because a draft pick is better than a win at this point.
It's like one of those weeks where, as a Giants fan, I'm like, it really stinks because you want to have faith that like something amazing is going to happen. But then this is David and Goliath, and you're going into Minnesota. This is the high-powered offense of the Minnesota Vikings. They got a pristine receiving core. My team is like, what will show up this week? Could we score enough points? They're just not going to be able to hang around with this Minnesota's Vikings team.
But you don't think with that Vikings defense that a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley could be enough?
No, I think Barkley will get his 108 yards on the ground and maybe one score. But I mean, like, where's the rest of my offense coming from? I could see my team scoring 17, but we can't put up 30 against this Vikings team this week. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you think you're going to need 30 to win, huh? So you got the Vikings down for 29. And you also think Dalvin Cook is going to get over 73 and a half rush yards. You don't trust your Giants rush deep?
I don't think they're going to be able to stop them. I really don't. I think they're going to be really balanced this week, Minnesota. They're going to want to come out fast and heavy and not make the same mistakes they made in the Colts game. And I think they're really going to pound it on the Giants. So I think it's a good spot.
Aren't you afraid of a little bit of a letdown, though, maybe?
Me?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be an emotional win for the Vikings.
Yeah,
they come back from
that's what I'm
nothing.
saying. You come off that win against Washington on the road, and you think they can carry the momentum, but this is like one of those weeks where
I'm not talking about the Giants with a letdown.
No, he's talking about coming back from 33-0.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are ripe for a letdown in here.
Well, I would rather lose to them this week and then beat them in the playoffs in 3 weeks and play them again. That's the way.
I don't think the Giants can afford to lose too many games and still expect to be in the playoffs, though, right? I mean, they pretty much got to keep on winning.
Well, thankfully, we have the Colts next week, so that's a pick me up right there. So
as you hope. All right, the next game, New Orleans and the Browns. I was on Baltimore last week against the Browns. They did not look. It does look like Deshaun Watson maybe getting a little bit better. Or maybe that's a product of the Ravens having the worst pass defense in the NFL. You can figure out which one that might be. In this game, it's kind of funny to me. It's almost like they don't expect them to score. A total is 32. What in the hell?
Run.
32 points is Shawn's going to take the under on that. I would be nervous as hell to take the under on that because
I didn't want to.
I mean, if either team gets into a little burst of scoring, you have a 21-point first half. Ain't no way that game's going under.
Yeah, well, you got to look at that weather. It's 25 to 30 mile per hour winds, up to 50 mile per hour gust. Both of these teams are going to want to run anyway. Mm-hmm. And this will go to my prop bet later too. I mean, this is just going to be a whole bunch of running, and they're not going to be able to kick much field goals. And it's going to come down to when they are in the red zone. They're going to have to get touchdowns. There could be a lot of drives where they're going for fourth downs in the red zones and turning the ball over there too. So I know 32 is low, but it's low for a reason. And I think
that's just way 16, too low for me to mess in an NFL game.
16-9 game or maybe a 13-3 game like it was last week with the Browns-Ravens. I did think about going the Saints too, but the fact that with all the wins and stuff, the Browns run better than the Saints do. But the Saints has that wild card too.
Well, I wonder though, and I don't know because I haven't been to that stadium, if it's a crosswind or a downwind. Because if it's a downwind, then the team that has the wind to their back will be able to produce points. If it's a crosswind, that kind of screws up, screws up both teams. So I don't know how that field lays out. But like I said, if it's a downwind, I think that doesn't impact scoring at all. It just come in quarters.
I've been to that stadium twice, and I don't understand that enough to tell you which way that would be. But I've been there twice.
Yeah, well, I don't know based upon that. But you like the Browns in here, and you like the under in here, Jared.
I like the under this week.
Well, you got the Browns, and Shawn has the under. I can't touch.
I think Shawn's on the right side of it. I think the Browns will cover, and I think it'll be tight. But I think a lot of the running game between Kamara. We'll see a lot of Kamara. We'll see a little bit. We'll probably see limited play action. We'll see Kamara out of the backfield. We'll see a lot of Chubb in this game. I think it's going to be a ground game for both teams.
Well, Shawn thinks you're going to see a lot of Taysom Hill over 37.5 rush
in the
yards.
headset. Yeah. A little wildcat. I could see that.
But let me ask you a question, Shawn. If you think, right, so let's just word plan you're thinking there that they're going to run, and they can't pass. So if you think they're going to run, and they can't pass, why wouldn't the defensive coordinators think they're going to run and not pass and just load the box and make just every inch very difficult to get?
They would absolutely do that, but Taysom Hill plows through people anyway in 3-4 yards at a time. I'd expect him to get 10 to 15 carries this game if that's what they're going to do and they're going to have to do. So he gets 3 yards every time we're over that total.
68.
So, and it's just going to take one. It's also just going to take one big run from him. Every now and then he breaks that. do the 2-2-2, and then he gets a 20-yard run. Just take one of those to put him over that total. I think that's your wild card this game. I don't think Kamara can be that guy that's going to carry the ball 30 times and go for 150. He just doesn't. He's always made out to be that guy, but he doesn't usually do that. So Taysom Hill's the key for the Saints this week.
Well, I think the key for Kamara is that quarterback play, right? When they had Drew Brees, you had to respect the pass. So that opened up the running lanes a little bit for Kamara. It also opened up all those little underneath passes and stuff for him where he can catch the ball in space. With the quarterback play that they've had since his departure, not so much space behind the line of scrimmage, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for a guy who's not necessarily a between the tackles runner. Next on our block is another one of these games where apparently Las Vegas doesn't think they're going to be able to score at all. The Falcons and the Ravens in this game. You're on the under 35, and Shawn is on the under. I'm on the other side. I'm going to take over 34.5. I don't think the weather's going to play much in this game at all. The Falcons aren't that good of a defense. The Ravens have the worst pass defense in the NFL. The wind does not, I think, come into play in this game. And I do think that the Falcons will score some points. I think the Ravens will score some points. And with Riddler playing quarterback, I wouldn't even be surprised to see a defensive touchdown from the Ravens. Defensive touchdown and the game goes over. You guys think it's going to go under? Tell me why you guys are both going to win besides the fact that the refs will let, in this case, there'll be obvious touchdowns that don't count.
No, it's both of these teams, again, want to run. The Ravens, again, playing with the backup. They're not throwing the ball very well. They're just running the ball very effective. Falcons with the rookie quarterback, second start. They're just going to keep running. So the clock's just going to keep going in this game.
Why would you if you're the Falcons?
Let me ask you a
question. You're an offensive coordinator for the Falcons, and you're looking at the strengths and weaknesses of the opposing team, and the opposing team's weakness is the pass game, and their strength is the run game. So why would you, as an offensive coordinator on a team that's basically done for, they can small chance to win their division. Why, as an offensive coordinator, would you say I'm going to play away from their weakness and go right into their strength?
Well, because we could tie this back to horse racing. What's the Falcons' strength? Running the ball, right? So in horse racing, they are one of the better running teams. In horse racing, if you have a closer but you see nobody at the lead, you can't take the horse out front. So they're not going to pass. That's not their identity.
No, it's their red zone efficiency is horrible. You're going to see a lot of field goals here. I think when they need to come away with 7 points,
not from Justin Tucker. Last week he missed 2. Can you believe that? Is that the first time in his career he missed 2 in a game, or the second time?
It might be the second time, but yeah, he does not do that very much.
No, he missed 2. So we're on the opposite side. I think there'll be points in this game. I think both teams will be able to score because the defenses aren't that great, and I don't think the wind will come into play. And that 34.5 is just a little too low. I think both teams can get around 20. Both teams are due for a little bit of an offensive explosion. So I'm expecting a little bit of regression to the mean and seeing a little bit more points in this game. And Jared and Shawn say, they're going to run, kill the clock, and it's going to be 6-3, and the game is going to be over.
Maybe a little higher than that, but still done pretty low.
9-6.
16-6. Like that.
49ers, the hottest team in the NFL. Everybody's picked to win the Super Bowl, although a rookie has never won the Super Bowl. Only one quarterback, 2 quarterbacks, 6'1", have won the Super Bowl. So maybe, hey, Brock Purdy, he'll be able to do what Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Joe Namath, Joe Montana, Roger Staubach, every Hall of Famer has not been able to do. But Brock Purdy is going to get it done for the 49ers. Both of you guys think they're going to get it done against the Commanders this weekend.
Yeah, I just see them keep rolling here. Commanders are. They struggled offensively last week against the Giants.
No, William, not a 50-point game. Could be a shutout.
He's talking about the Falcons and the Ravens. I agree with William. I think they're going to have points in this game because, honestly, I think the Ravens need to open it up, and I think the Falcons are going to open it up. I really think both teams are going to go for it. But anyway, back to the Commanders and 49ers, and Terry's in here chiming in for the 49ers. The best they do.
Yes, they do, Terry. Yes,
in the
they
NFL.
do.
They've played the worst schedule in the NFL.
Terry, this could be the shutout of the week. They could just shut the Commanders completely down. this week.
I see
Honestly,
them 10 to 14 points for the Commanders, and the 49ers will be in the 20s. So
28.
I don't see it. I don't see it stopping much here. This looks like a good spot for the 49ers, and they win this game by at least a touchdown. And that's all we need.
I think the 49ers are probably going to win this game on the road, but I'm still hard-pressed to believe a team that's played the softest schedule in the NFC, the second softest schedule in all of the NFL. The one really good team that they won, that's an NFL Super Bowl contender. They played the Chiefs, and they just got absolutely obliterated. I'll believe it when I see it, Terry. I hope for you, but I don't.
Don't worry, Terry. They'll be playing the 49ers in the NFC Championship game.
They could well
I'll go out on a limb there.
They're going to play at home. So, I mean, they could have home field advantage if somebody upsets the Eagles if they don't get Jalen Hurts back. All right, Shawn, you also are going to double dip here because you think this game is going to go under. So, I think that kind of oh, no, Jared's going to go under. I'm sorry. I got it.
I'm going under. Yeah.
So, you're double dipping. Why do you think the game goes under?
I don't think the Commanders' offense is going to be able to score points because the defense is going to stifle them. 49ers defense is that good. They're going to make plays. They're going to make
under or over.
He's got over 37.
Am I over? I think it was over.
No, I got a text from you. Take it over.
over. Yeah, then I changed it. I was under, then I went over.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So now you've made the argument why it's going to go under. So now you get the chance to make the argument why it's going to go over.
Excuse me. I can't read the little print. You may need to blow that up. My eyes are getting old.
Wait. You have to read the print for your own picks?
No.
Are you attacking the bourbon?
I don't have my notes in front of me.
You got the bourbon vision?
I have no bourbon tonight. No bourbon tonight.
No bourbon. All right.
I'm off the wagon. I'm on the wagon.
He can't make up his mind if he's on or off the wagon. Sean.
Off or over under.
Commanders.
Yeah.
I think they'll score just enough. We'll get this over.
They'll get it over. All right. So I don't know about that game. Bengals and the Patriots with the absolutely most boneheadedest thing I've ever seen in the history of the NFL. What in the hell was that?
A Bill Belichick coach team out of all that too.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. There was a lot of exciting finishes on Sunday, and I caught almost all of them. I flipped that game back, and the Raiders were celebrating the end zone, and they were like, this is unbelievable. And I'm like, what the heck happened? And then I'm watching the replay. I'm like, no way. Like, I couldn't believe that. You can't do that.
Is that the third game I think they've won this year on the very last play of the game?
The Raiders?
And the Seattle game too.
At least, yeah.
I think they had back-to-back games this year on the very last play.
And that's 3 out of like the last 5 weeks maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
because they did back-to-back weeks there. Yeah,
a very fortunate team. It seems like they're maybe the move to Las Vegas allowed Al Davis Jr. He's probably got some hidden cameras in all of the opposing team in the referees' hotel rooms, and a little bit of hey, you don't want these photos to come public,
engine
do you?
that could not for quite some time, and now it seems like a little bit now, but a little too late. If they had it at the beginning of the season, they might have been in a better situation to make the playoffs.
Getting to this pick, the Bengals, they've won 7 in a row, and they're just cruising. And I was impressed last week. I thought
it was 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah, whatever it is.
7 or 8. But
I just kept them into the AFC Championship game. They're hot.
Last week they looked dead with Tampa, and they just rebounded there. I was impressed with that. And Tampa and New England are kind of playing that same thing. They're very limited offensively. They're playing decent defensively, and Tampa's defense is better than New England. So I don't see how New England keeps this game within 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to think that you would think that right now the Bengals. This to me,
this
to me smells of the suckers bet.
No,
you have a team that's on the 8-game win streak, clearly a better team. They got the better quarterback. They got the better artillery. They're they're just way better than the Patriots across the board. So I know they're on the road, but you're saying, I don't know. It just seems to me that this line seems awfully low. I would expect the Bengals to be 5-6 point favorites in this game simply because of the direction that they're going in. But only to see 3. This one is the one that makes me a little bit nervous in terms of
they need this game this week
low?
Because the Bills are lurking afterwards. So they definitely need to get this game this week because they're going to be in a dogfight with the Bills next week. So they need this game.
Well, it makes you wonder if they might look past this game. But I'm a little bit worried about that line being -3. It just seems to me that it's too low, Shawn. It's something in there that says to me that the line is too good to be true. But maybe this is Las Vegas is a Christmas gift to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, last week's line against Tampa was 3.5, and I feel like it's kind of the same type of game. As long as the Bengals show up and play their style of ball, they're not win this game by more than 3.
You just said a minute ago that you felt like the Buccaneers were better than the Patriots
defensively.
Well, just better than the Patriots. So 3.5 against the better team, and then only 3 against a team that's supposed to be a little bit worse, in your opinion. It just seems to me the line's a little funky.
No, what I was saying was defensively. I think Tampa's better defensively. New England's a little bit. Right now, New England. Oh, see, that's hard to even say New England's better offensively, but Tampa's offense
they're not.
Is just complaining. Yeah, and then I want to say New England's better coached, which that I will agree with. But then you have that play last week, and you go, "What the heck was that?" So I would say New England's the better coach team, though. But yeah, it's really similar to me. So it worked last week for me, even though they were down 17-0. So I'm just going to go right back to it.
Eagles and the Cowboys. We talked about this a little bit early on. I'm the only one on this game. I think the Eagles will do everything that they can to win this game, wrap up everything they need to wrap up for the season, ensure that they get home field advantage, ensure that they have the NFC East title. If they win this game, everything is in the books for them, helps them control everything. The NFC's road to the Super Bowl then will go through Philadelphia. And the Eagles, I think the Cowboys are playing like crap right now. T.Y. Hilton is their big signing. He says you better respect them. I think maybe he adds a little bit to the offense, but it looks to me like this guy, Noah Brown, might actually be adding more to the offense. And maybe you're better off with what you have, the grass being on your side of the fence than what T.Y. Hilton could bring. I don't know. I mean, the Cowboys just haven't been playing well, so I don't expect much.
Sloppy. And what happened to that amazing pass rush? It's completely evaporated. They've had like 2 sacks in the last 4 games. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know what Micah Parsons has disappeared, right? I mean, maybe he's run out of gas. I don't know.
I just think it's the same old story of an overconfident, overzealous Cowboys team. That's getting towards the end of the season. They're running out of gas. They're really running out of gas.
I think it's a matter of just, for me, watching the Cowboys. Dak Prescott makes too many mistakes in parts of the field you can't make mistakes in. Either takes points off the boards by throwing interceptions in the red zone, or he ends up getting picked off and picked sixth, and they did giving the opposing team points, or getting picked off deep in his own. I mean, you shouldn't get picked off anyway. I know he's complaining about tips, but even on that throw, if you watch it, he's running across this way. He's on one foot. He's trying to throw it back across the field, and he makes the guy reach for the ball, and then it tips up. I mean, it's complete luck that
a lot of indecisiveness lately, Rich. He doesn't seem confident at all. He's just not reading the pass coverage as well at all. He just seems so out of sync with his mechanics lately. It's not a surprise.
A lot of them are tips, but at the same time, I just think that he's not squared up. His form, his technique is not there, and he's just inaccurate. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago when they were playing the Eagles, and they're playing for the NFC East Championship. You have Michael Gallup running down the sidelines. There wasn't a play. Put it this way: I'm closer to you two guys right now. You're in New York, and you're in Philadelphia, Shawn, or outside of Philadelphia, and I'm closer to you guys than the nearest defender was to Michael Gallup, and the ball still went over his head by 15 yards. And I mean, if that ball's on target, the Cowboys win that game, but he's inaccurate. That's the bottom line. He's inaccurate, and he's inaccurate at times where you cannot be inaccurate.
Yeah.
So I think Gardner Minshew will come in. He's motivated. When he did play for the Eagles, he'll play well. They're going to run the ball. Miles Sanders. What's the other cat's name? I forget the other name that they have. But Miles Sanders is 5th in the league in rushing. I think you're going to see a lot of running because the Cowboys are weak against the run. Eagles will run. A.J. Brown with the defensive backs that like to gamble. I could see some big plays between him and Devontae Smith. This game's going to be close. Even if the Cowboys win, I don't think it'll be by more than a field goal.
My only concern is if Dallas starts off really fast.
They started off fast last week.
No, I know this, but Dallas starts off really fast. This game's way more important to Dallas than it is the Eagles. So Dallas starts off fast. Minshew doesn't really
but is
get
it
going.
Really? Their fate is basically sealed, Shawn.
Yeah, but don't you think Dallas kind of wants to send a message to the Eagles when the Eagles want to send a message to Dallas? The Eagles already proved that they're the better team right now than Dallas. So I would just be concerned Dallas starts off fast, and then it's like a confidence builder for Dallas just to blow them out, where the Eagles, they're going to kind of wrap it up and be like, okay, we're going to save some of our stuff for the playoffs if we ever meet you. That would be my concern.
I think there's too much at stake for the Eagles to start a losing streak, because my feeling is when you have an opportunity to choke somebody out, Boston Scott, thank you, William, you choke them out.
Yeah,
because I've seen too many times where teams are in situations where they basically have their foot on somebody's throat and they don't crush the esophagus, and it comes back to bite them in the ass. And I feel like the Eagles are not going to let that happen. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. I want to see them win, but they don't really have much to gain in this game either. They're pretty much locked in as the top
5 seed,
the top wild card team.
And unless they can catch the Eagles, which they have to win this game and then win the next 2, and the Eagles.
And the
that's
Eagles
okay.
have to
They're
lose
going to
every
lose
game.
to Tampa.
Yeah.
They're going to go down there and they're going to get their asses handed to them by Tampa in the playoffs. So it doesn't matter.
Spoken like a true Giants fan. I like the Eagles to win. I think the Eagles could win this game. I think it's a very strong possibility, but I'm just going to take the 4.5 points. I think it's too much. It's an overreaction to Jalen Hurts not being in the game. I expect a lot of running from the Eagles, and if there's one team that they want to beat and rub their nose in it, it's absolutely the Cowboys, unquestionably. And they would love to celebrate winning the NFC
star.
East down in Dallas on that star, no question. Raiders and the Steelers. So we have the luckiest team in the league versus a team that's apparently playing better right now. But I think the Raiders are just a little bit better than the Steelers are. They're getting 2 points. I think the Raiders are going to win this game outright, and I'm going to get it for plus 115. So I'm going to take the Raiders somehow, some way. Devontae Adams will run behind the opposing team's bench all the way down, and they won't call him out of bounds for the game-winning touchdown. I mean, I do think that the young man from Pittsburgh, Pickett, has been playing okay. He's due for a bad game. He hasn't had one in about 4 or 5. And if he didn't have one in the 6th game, it would be the longest stretch, including his college career. It's going to be a little bit cold, a little bit windy. Maybe that favors the Steelers with the run game a little bit, but I don't know that anybody runs the ball better than Josh Jacobs and the Raiders. What do you guys think?
Maybe it's a tribute to the great Immaculate Caps reception for the pride of Franco Harris that the Steelers find a way to win this game this week. It feels like it feels like this could be an upset to this week.
Like a winning game? Well, how can it be an upset if you're the favorite?
Well, I didn't know that. I thought the Steelers were the underdog in this week.
No, the Raiders are the Raiders are the underdog. They're getting 2 points.
I don't know. I would lean the Steelers here. I just feel like this is the way they're going to win this game.
I looked at this line a couple times, saw the Raiders plus value. The way the Raiders are playing, I wanted to go the Raiders. I stayed out of it because, you said about the cold weather, and the Steelers play better in the cold weather. And I kind of agree with that. And also, coaching is a lot better with Pittsburgh than it is Oakland, too. So that was the other hesitation. And then TJ Watt, I believe it's either 5-1 or 5-2 when TJ Watt's in the lineup for the Steelers as well. And he'll be in the lineup. So there's a couple things there that made me stay away. But since I'm 50-50, you're on the right side, like you say. You're getting plus value with the Raiders.
Well, don't you feel like but the Raiders are a little bit more complete offensively? The Steelers are okay running the ball. Josh Jacobs is a machine running the ball, and no matter who they run against. So if it's cold and it comes down to the running game, which team's running game would you rather have?
Mm-hmm. But which Derek Carr will show up?
Raiders, for sure.
Well, I mean, if you're going to trust a quarterback that's going to read the defense correctly, do you want the rookie or do you want the guy who's been in the league around? I mean, I'm not the biggest Derek Carr fan, but I trust that Derek Carr is going to make the better read than Kenny Pickett at this point in their careers. I think Kenny Pickett's more likely to take risks and let his players make plays, in which case I think that's what a lot of the great quarterbacks do. They put the ball in a situation where their players can make plays for them, and a lot of times they do. And then you have the cautious quarterbacks like Derek Carr that are a little bit afraid to put the ball where their players can make a play. They'd rather take the safe route and dump it down. 3rd and 9 and throw it for 7 yards because it's not going to get intercepted. And I hate that. When I was a kid playing football and it was 3rd and 10, our coaches drilled on us, you got to get by the yard marker. You got to get by the first. What is it with NFL players? And I see this game after game, 3rd and 6, 5-yard pass. 3rd and 5, 4-yard pass. 3rd and 4, 3-yard pass. Well, why not go 4 yards if you need 4 yards? Why not go 5 yards if you need 5 yards? Just add one. And I see it game after game after game. And I think this is peewee football, guys. What's going on? What do you guys think? Do you think they're just trying to break a tackle and get 1 yard?
Well, yeah, sometimes it's the coaches.
Conservative sometimes, depending on situations. I think coaches get conservative. All new concussion protocols. Guys don't want to hurt themselves. They take the easier way out. And teams that have the stellar defenses put it back on their defense, saying, "Oh, if we don't get this, we'll get them on the next play. We'll make a big play." And I think it's because you got those teams that are just lazy when it comes to certain situations.
I really hate it. It's a pet peeve of mine. 3rd and 3 and you throw a 1-yard pass. Come on, guys. If you can throw it 1 yard, you can throw it 3 yards. Do a rub route. Do like the Patriots used to do. Make the ref make a call. Pick somebody and throw the ball and see what happens, right? 9 out of 10 times the refs aren't calling those picks anyway. They let the offenses get away with a lot because they want points on the board. That's what the NFL wants. It draws fans in. They're not going to – the officials are going to do everything they can to put points on the board, not take them off. Last game of the week for us, the Seahawks and the Chiefs in Kansas City. It's supposed to be about 18 degrees. It's going to be one of the more balmy outside of the dome stadiums. Probably be one of the warmest games. Hell, even in Miami, it's only supposed to be like 45 degrees, guys. Woo. Terry says the Chiefs will destroy the Seahawks because they destroyed his 49ers. They probably are going to beat the Seahawks. And he's a big fan. He's a big anti-Seahawks more than he is a pro Chiefs in this case. But I see a lot of points in this game, gentlemen. The over-under is 49.5. I think they'll go over that total because the Seahawks will score, as will the Chiefs. Do you guys see that happening or not?
I don't know because I don't know. Kansas City's got a little worrisome here, the way they're playing. And that offense is not that offense that you're thinking. And then Seattle's offense is been slacking too. So I don't know. That might be a high total.
It could be a high total, but then you might look at it the other way. Both teams are set to regress up.
I think Geno Smith's going to have some problems with this game. I don't think he's going to be as good as he's played in other games. I think it's the real Geno Smith showing up. I think there's going to be some turnovers, and that's why I got that prop bet out there this week for Metcalf to go under 73.5 receiving. I think he's going to have
76.5. Yeah.
76.5.
So he's going to come in right now at. You said it was going to be under 73, so he's going to come in at 77 now exactly.
So I just hit
Jared's going to be out on the field with a tape measure after the game. It was 70. It was a half yard pass.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot this week. So that's good value. I thought it was a really good value.
It's going to come down to it. It's going to be third. It's going to be 4th and 3 at the end. 3rd and 3 or 4th and 3 at the end of the game. And you're going to throw it to DK Metcalf. And if he gets the first down, Jared's going to lose. But instead, they're going to throw it for 3 yards. And Rich is going to be going, what the hell are they doing? Throwing it for 3 yards when they need 4. Jared's going to be like, yes, they threw it for 3 yards when they need 4. Yeah, anyway, I think there's going to be a lot of points in that game, to be honest with you. I don't think the Chiefs' defense is all that good. They'll be susceptible to the pass game. The wind and the weather, I don't think will be much of a factor there. I can see both teams going up and down the field, putting up a lot of points. I can see the Chiefs hitting. If the Chiefs hit 30 this game, 30-35, I would not be surprised.
31. Yeah. Let's call it 31.
31. Then I need 28 from the Seahawks. And I mean, 49.5 is borderline that high number for me. Once you start to get to 50, I start to get a little concerned. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and that's going to wrap up all of our picks for this week. Hopefully, everybody has a fantastic Christmas, and I hope that all of our picks win. But they can't because we're opposed on a few along the way. We certainly hope all your picks win. There won't be any horse racing pick show tomorrow, Christmas Eve. We're all going to take a little bit of break around here. There
Have
will
some
not be
get some bourbon.
Yeah, just some, huh? Some bottles of bourbon.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. I don't drink, thank God, for the rest of the world. Terry and I will be back on Monday for Parks Racing. Busy day, the day after Christmas at the track. Santa Anita opens, so some great cards everywhere. Maybe
Tampa
we'll
Bay.
tweet out all the picks. Tampa Bay and Gulfstream on tomorrow. No picks tomorrow. Though Shawn and Jamie and Julie will be taking off next week, returning in the new year with Horse Center. And that's about it, guys. I hope both of you have nice Christmases. You and your lovely new bride, and you with Hillary and Blake and the rest of the family, Shawn.
Thank you, guys. You as well, Rich, and your family, and you, Jared, and your family as well.
Have a good holiday. Stay warm. And like I said, have some brandy and have some bourbon and whatever else you may be drinking this holiday season. So
happy holidays to you as well, William. Enjoy them. Everybody have fantastic fun with their friends, their family, and hopefully you have some phenomenal food. Until we get back together again, no matter what you do, we hope that every single one of your presents and all of the things that you happen to do this week end up in
the end zone.
The end zone.
Well, thank you, Jared. Great timing.
I thought Shawn was going to give like the chasm of the energy that time. That's all.
Yeah. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Enjoy the Christmas holiday. We'll see you next week with all of our NFL picks.
Boys.